It looks like Disney and Marvel are quite scared as the appetite for big budget cape films in a post lockdown world seems roughly a third of what it was before. I think it's important to keep in mind that Phase 4, when we saw it announced, everyone basically knew it was going to be disaster. I mean, sure, there were things like Thor Love and Thunder, which, will probably do decent. Doctor Strange, decent. These are things before the new kind of box office high watermark came out. Now we saw Disney roll the dice a couple of times with full theatrical releases, and they've been, by Disney's own standards, disastrous. Black Widow will likely just break even after basically 2 years of hype. And Shang-Chi, while it might be a fine movie, it literally might be. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares about it. And even less so will be the Eternals. And after seeing the box office basically disastrous, the box office's disastrous performances in post-lockdown, Disney's lost their will. They're deciding to basically delay more Marvel movies, and it's pretty interesting. By the way, it's Friday. I want to remind you that if you're still browsing the internet without a VPN, make today the day you get protected. The VPN I use is Private Internet Access. They've been a very important supporter of the channel for several months now, and they've got an amazing discount that I think ends in just a few days. It's a massive discount if you use the link I leave in the pinned comment below. So if you still haven't picked up a VPN, it's like a couple of bucks. Get one today. Use the link in the description. Support the channel. Protect yourself. Browse anonymously. Access regional lock content. Protect your data from being sold and resold by big tech. Just all wins across the board. Kevin Feige's woke Phase 4 approach is turning out to be a disaster of epic proportions. As it's now being reported that if Shang-Chi tanks at the box office, which it is expected to, that Disney will delay the release of Eternals. This info comes from Vulture's report about how Sony is going to further delay the release of Venom 2, where the site reached out for two additional studio sources to see if there would be similar delays, where it's noted that Marvel could delay the release of Eternals if Shang-Chi underperforms, which follows Black Widow being a colossal catastrophe. I don't know if I would call it a catastrophe, but in a world where Captain Marvel made $1 billion, having Black Widow, a far better known character, and Scarlett Johansson, a far better liked actress, her film make less than half of what Captain Marvel did, I'm sure that was a high pucker factor for a lot of the executives at Disney. I think that what happened was they were riding such an incredible high. The tide was so high that all boats were being raised. I mean, a movie like Aquaman made $1 billion. Aquaman, okay? Wonder Woman, $1 billion movie practically. Now, the world's over it. The world is over Cape films, and I don't think it can actually be recovered. I don't think they could turn back from this. I mean, what they're going to have to do probably is lower budgets, because I just think not just American, but really the worldwide appetite for these films is less than half of what it was, according to box office numbers. Less than half. And China seems to be in a period of where they're just freezing Marvel out, freezing Disney out. Nothing's getting Chinese releases now. I know they have their 100-year centennial thing. They only want to release super propagandistic movies over there. But I mean, without that sweet $300 million from China, Marvel's entire Phase 4 collapses. We already know that China hates the Eternals. They call the actors ugly, or not the Eternals, Shang-Chi. And then they didn't like Mulan, and they're not going to like the Eternals. Among studios, sources reached by Vulture, the short-term outlook is that autumn's big films, such as Dune and Top Gun Maverick, that's a big film, will most likely stay on the schedule release dates. Although Marvel Studios' Eternals could be delayed if the 24th MCU entry, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, underperforms at the box office upon its September 3rd release. This is all but assured. And look at the rest of Phase 4. Another Ant-Man movie that won't even be about Ant-Man. Doctor Strange which I was, even myself, I'm like, I still like Doctor Strange. Even I'm kind of like not that pumped about it. Recent estimates have Shang-Chi opening at the box office at the lowest debut of any MCU movie, including lower than Ant-Man's $57 million and The Incredible Hulk's $55 million, with a range of $35 to $55 million. If this movie does $40 million, $45 million, it's going to be a catastrophe. Now, the box office or the budget for Shang-Chi is obviously much less than your typical Avengers film, but it's like Disney thought, hey, Marvel thought, you know what? No matter what we do, we're making $1 billion, so let's just pump out a bunch of let's focus more on diversity of the MCU than what got us here, which was making good movies. Now, Black Widow as a movie had some cringe moments, but I would say it was a very middle of the road Marvel movie. Not bad, I don't think. Not great, but you could say that about 20 of the Marvel movies. So the idea that it wasn't Infinity War or it wasn't Endgame, Winter Soldier or something like that, it's fine. They're not all amazing. But when you're going to have a mediocre movie plus an actor nobody knows, well, some people know, but doesn't have the draws, obviously, like Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth, and then you have a IP that hardly anybody knows about, I think that people are going to see Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings on the billboard at movie theaters and have no idea it's a Marvel movie. I really do believe that. Understand that you're watching this channel, so it's a Marvel movie. And even that the Eternals are a Marvel movie. But John Q. Public, which will account for probably 75% of Marvel movies revenue, they don't know. They don't know who the hell Shang-Chi is. They don't know the Eternals. You mean the Eternals that stood by and did nothing while Thanos snapped away half the universe? I'm supposed to believe that the Eternals, these super all-powerful beings, just ignored Thanos. Yeah, I'm sure. It should be noted that obviously Disney was aware Black Widow was going to tank big time, which is why they released it right away on Disney Plus, as Disney makes a lot more money on Disney Plus. We know that they made like $60 million opening weekend on Disney Premiere. I'm guessing when the final numbers come out, they'll probably have $100 million from Disney Plus between new signups and people that paid the $30. So, that helps obviously a lot. It also seems obvious that Disney thinks Shang-Chi will tank, which is why the 45-day theatrical release is considered, quote, an experiment. And Disney apparently thinks the upcoming November release of Eternals will fail as well, hence the release date change. When the movie stars are suing or feuding with the studio or siding with one another against the studio, Elizabeth Olsen, that shows you just how bad things are. Feige's woke approach, this is via Cosmic Book News, by the way, doesn't look like it's getting any better, as upcoming releases include a slate of woke content, which is where characters are changed for the sake of political correctness or of a liberal agenda. Shang-Chi recently said the film will change the world and will finally give the audience an aspirational Asian character. Yeah, Jackie Chan didn't exist. Eternals, gender-bent, race-swapped characters. Regarding the story, the trailer revealed that although the entire universe was threatened by Thanos, they decided to stay out of it. Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, replaced by Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop. Again, not all of these are things that didn't happen in the comic books. There's comic book lore to support almost all of this, except for like the gender and race swapping. Miss Marvel, politically oppressed Muslim character that replaced Carol Danvers in comics. That's going to be bad too. Doctor Strange, I think, is fine. Thor, Love and Thunder will be fine. Thor stands on its own. Now, Natalie Portman going to be, the new Thompson. So or Jane Foster, sorry. And Valkyrie is the new Queen of Asgard, effectively putting Thor in behind two women, which is perfect. That's exactly what Disney wants. Taika Waititi, of course, directing that. So it's going to be, as much as I dislike him, his movies are generally pretty funny. Jojo Rabbit, I thought was excellent. The work he's done on What We Do in the Shadows, I thought is really funny. Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. I don't know. I can't blame Disney for doing what they do there. It is what it is. Captain Marvel 2, The Marvels. The Marvels will feature Brie Larson, Tiona Paris, and Monica Rambeau. and Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel. The director recently said the movie is about pain and trauma. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, unknown how woke James Gunn will go, but he may feature a woke version. I mean, I don't know. I mean, comic book news does tend to kind of, hype. It's like another level higher than bounding into comics in terms of, maybe going a little too far. Deadpool 3, I think, fine. Ryan Reynolds sold out his writers for 2 female noobs as demanded by Feige and Marvel. I remember that. Blade, going to be awful. Captain America 4, replaced by Anthony Mackie's Falcon, no superpowers. Moon Knight, She-Hulk. This is what Marvel has for the next 3 years. This is not a good look, and this is going to be a really difficult road for them in the future. And I have to say, I don't really care. I'd be curious if you plan on going to see Shang-Chi in the theaters. What new movie, that Marvel, is there anything on the Marvel Phase 4 docket that you're excited to see? And before you leave, remember, if you haven't picked up a VPN, use private internet access, get a huge discount by using my link, which is in the description and pinned comment down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.